If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard with you live downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Thanks for checking in today. YouTube TV, Sirius XM channel 158 and the VSiN Watch app. Great guests on the program, Tim Murray, Matt Youmans NFL Draft, Mike Palm a little bit later on, hockey, NBA playoffs, and Major League Baseball. We'll have plenty of buzz on the draft as we're now one day away, and we'll hit the card that we have tonight, a bunch, Paulie, with intriguing NBA and NHL contests, much like I thought we had going into the games last night. And look, tip of my cap to J.J. Redick, first time, only time head coach anywhere in his career with the Los Angeles Lakers. To get that job as his first ever gig as a coach is kind of bonkers. But I think last night you saw signs of why the Lakers liked him, why LeBron wanted him, and the adjustments that he was able to make. And I thought he was really, really good. And I did not end up betting that game overall because I was making the case yesterday on the air for the Wolves plus the 6. Thank God I didn't. However, outside of that really, really bad first quarter, I thought the Wolves played him pretty tight. But again, think about the adjustments here for a second. Game 1, big storyline. The Wolves playoff franchise record, 21-42 from downtown, all those open threes. They were 5 of 25 last night, and overall jump shooting. With all those open shots in Game 1, they were 23 of 48. That's 2s and 3s for 67 points. Last night, 7 of 35 for 19 points, and multiple times during the game, specifically when the Lakers were up 62-51, timeout, underrate third quarter, he chewed their asses, and it was caught on hot microphones.
Someone next to the bench said there were 12 F-bombs.
I'll buy it.
So good for him. And then the first one came across. The highlight of the game may have been the Laker fans sitting press row behind Redick, and she was spectacular. Both teams were 20% from three. You are right. He did a good job defensively. They were physical, but I think it was more of Minnesota, which concerned me. Well, we got the split, mission accomplished, and now we're going back home on Friday because it didn't have the same intensity, and certainly the shots didn't fall as well. But I think I really liked Minnesota going into the series. I liked them a lot after Game 1, and I love them, even though they lost. The Lakers have scored 94 and 95 points so far in the 2 games. Mm-hmm. If you're going to play, and I believe there were 43 isolation plays and attempts in what the Lakers did, if you're just going to strictly go at Gobert, and that's the game plan, and it's just LeBron standing around and other guys standing around, this isn't going to work. And that's not going to cut it. And they're going to get blitzed on Friday because, Minnesota's not going to shoot like that again. And they're going to get a big edge from their crowd. And all you need to know is the series price. It's essentially a pick 'em now. After the Lakers were $1.90. The Lakers in big trouble.
Yeah, and look at that. I mean, some spots, kind of you're right in that pick 'em range, right? But basically the Wolves about a -115, still favored at some spots as well. And look at now they're taking money here in Game 3 as well, to your point. Right, because if you love them, again, still, and you loved him yesterday, I mean, I'm talking series long now, not just last night, but for the whole series, you loved him.
Yeah, well, the other thing I didn't factor in was, and I should have seen this coming, the Lakers got every call. I mean, the whole T-Wolves team was in foul trouble.
I thought the referees were really bad last night in the game.
Yeah,
and
all the way around.
That sucked,
yes.
Yeah, because again,
33 points total in the fourth quarter, something like that.
Yeah.
No flow, but they were ready with the whistle, and a lot of Minnesota players were in foul trouble.
Yeah, they were too ready to call it one way last night, and that has to be the fear once in a while. I think, especially with some of these marquee teams, and we talked about that with the Knicks-Pistons game because they were chirping now after Game 2, like, okay, now they start to get the calls in that game. But the Lakers, after they were blown out, it's the NBA, it's soap opera, right? So. Surprise, surprise, they got a bunch of calls early last night. And by the way, in a playoff stretch now this year where referees were completely swallowing the whistle, Yeah, Lakers pretty important for the league, I guess, to continue playing in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So
they are hard to officiate, though.
Yeah,
they are. But I just don't think that style's going to work. They should be more run and gun, and they should be more let's spread it and shoot threes.
I would agree with that part.
Let's just attack Gobert. Let's just try to find Conley, and then go one-on-one and try to find a mismatch. Meanwhile, the other guy's in the corner doing nothing.
That's exactly right. Stagnant, not a lot of motion.
No.
And that's not going to get it done.
Well, Finch realized he shouldn't play Gobert. I mean, the Lakers have no size and no one down low, and Gobert still can't take advantage and do anything, and the guy's 7'2".
I know.
Will he say,
it's a
they're
great
going
question.
at him? Yeah, will he say, I don't care what you make, I don't care what you've accomplished, I'm not playing you. I don't need to play you.
Yeah, this might be one of those series where, and look, they were completely comfortable trading Karl Anthony Towns because they knew what they had in Naz Reid. I think this is going to be a spot where Naz Reid could absolutely shine, and he probably deserves to be on the court a little bit more than the current run that he's getting at this point. And we've seen this with Gobert. We saw it last year against the Mavericks. We saw it that one series with the Jazz a couple years ago. That was against the Mavericks. He had no spot in the series whatsoever. He was worthless on the court. Couldn't do anything. So interesting to see how he's going to handle that. But the market does agree with you because the Timberwolves opened up 3, and they're sitting at 3.5 now, taking a little bit of money in this game. And look, I would be absolutely floored if the Lakers go to Minnesota and take these 2 middle games.
Oh, that's not happening.
And they go back, and if it's 3-1 Lakers, I cannot see that happening. Yeah. I think the Wolves match up with this team way too well. And they had a piss poor first quarter last night.
Oh, they were terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Ant hasn't gone off either. That's the other thing. But Redick can make adjustments. Maybe they change how they play. But that's certainly what they've done, though. It's not, you're not going to win 4 games like that. There's just no way.
Not scoring 95 points.
You just hope Minnesota misses and can't do anything offensively. So good job defensively. And they definitely were physical, and Hachimura coming out with the mask. And like Redick said, he was a warrior. But you're not 94 and 95 points with what they have and the talent offensively?
That also ties into, look at how that total crashed in the game. Right? 210.5 is where it closed at. That, came down like 7 points. And so total so far through 13 games in the NBA playoffs are 10-3 to the under. And we talked about that a little bit yesterday. Look at these current totals that we have on the board tonight. And all of them basically have moved. Magic Celtics opened 201.5 down to 196.5 in that game. There's a 5-point move. Heat Cavaliers.
Completely disagree with this one.
Yeah, and
this is going over.
I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this line move might be incorrect.
All 4 meetings have gone over this number. 121-100 in game 1, 122 to 113, 126 to 106, and 112 to 107.
That's who the Cavaliers are.
Yeah, I didn't like how they played defensively either. So I disagree with this move.
Yeah, they play 1,000 miles an hour, and they are absolutely elite on offense.
Yes. The first one makes sense. Tatum doubtful. Orlando number 2 in defense and the slowest team in the league.
Right.
That I buy. And there's just only 2 guys that can score.
So, man, don't we have to think that Tatum is going to be out of the game tonight based on the current point spread?
Yeah, and he didn't play twice against Orlando when they lost.
Sure.
So I like Orlando first half and Orlando for the game.
And they're sitting there at 10, and they were, 13 in game 1? And the way they closed that game out, they covered it eventually. But that tells you that Tatum, to me, can't be in this game tonight if it's down to 10. Because that certainly, to your point there, is going to mean something, obviously. And the other game would be Warriors-Rockets, open 206.5. And that's down a couple of points as well. And now the Rockets, by the way, up to 3.5-point favorites.
Too much of a tax here based on the season on the line.
I think Warriors' money line looks a little attractive tonight.
This is a veteran team. I don't think they'll act like Minnesota.
I don't think so either.
I think they know there's just blood in the water. Let's go up 2-0 and end this.
I think with how many miles those players have on the old odometers, respectively, I think they want to take care of business. They don't want to go 7 games if they don't have to. I think the Warriors are like, man, we can make another run here. Who knows? If we get a couple of breaks, we might be playing for another championship. And if that's the scenario, like our best path is to play as few games as possible. And I think they're going to be all business again tonight.
I agree. Yep. They're all over Doc in Milwaukee, too, by the way.
Well, they should be.
All over him. So, again, when the starters are on the floor, they're getting bounced. And he won't make an adjustment. And he starts Kuzma again. They can't stand him. He starts Prince again. Freak goes off, and you get an all-time game from Portis. And you're still down 10 to 15 points for much of the game. It doesn't look good for this. Again, this would be the 3rd straight year they lose in the first round. They don't have a first-round pick till 2031. I mean, it's a tough matchup, but you get that from Freak and you get that from Portis, and you're still down 15.
So think about watching that game. And they did cut it to too late.
Yep.
which was like the only time during the entire game because they kept trying to like chisel away at that 10 to 15 point lead. But as soon as they would, the Pacers would hit them right back. And they just credit the Pacers. And you can say, look, the Bucks were horrible on defense last night. Fine, I get it. But the Pacers also made like a zillion shots and they started off on fire. So all that considered, this was Doc Rivers, who's been around this game for so long. This was his reaction to what he watched in Game 2 to tie into Game 1 after the game last night.
I guess you just start Game 3 and trust that adjustments will be made and things.
We'll just see. We have time. We have 48 hours. I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing right now because I don't know. But we'll figure it out. I'm very confident about this series. Very.
Amazing.
You got to change the starting lineup, and you're down 0-2. They have your number. You're very confident.
You're very confident, and you're getting your doors blown off here.
Yeah,
for the most part. In these first two games,
all 5 starters are in double figures.
Yes,
you can't get stops.
No, 0 stops can be had at all. You're quite confident. The guy's been lost in space for 25 years.
Still no answer for Siakam. None. No answer.
Oh, do you think they're going to be able to stop Halliburton?
I love this, though, too. Both teams hate each other.
That's true.
I love it. There's something. There's a skirmish. There's a argument.
There might be a brawl coming.
That's in play. That is in play.
Yeah.
But they are, boy, the yapping and the stuff that goes on every game is nuts. NFL Draft, one of the few betting events where research beats reputation. VSiN Pro helps you cash in. VSiN Pro access through August 1st, just $59. Full summer of sharp betting insights at half the price. You'll get every best bet, every host, every guest, the 24/7 video access on the VSiN Watch app, the betting splits which everyone loves, from DK and Circa, from draft to the Derby and beyond, every sport, every edge, one low price. VSiN.com/subscribe. Incredible offer, just $59 to August 1st. VSiN.com/subscribe.
All right, one day away from the draft. So much buzz surrounding this event, as always. We'll give you the latest from Peter Schrager, ESPN, what he's hearing, some predictions. And based on this slide, it would be significant for this player. And Todd McShay, oh my God, some of the stuff that he had to say, what he's hearing. We'll share it next.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. It is Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. NFL Draft set for tomorrow night. And Tim Murray going to be on the coverage right here on VSiN along with Matt Humans and Matt Brown throughout the entire event. Going to be a great show here on the network. And he joins us here on the Progressive Guest Line to go over some observations and best bets a little bit more than 24 hours out. Timmy, good afternoon. Thanks for the time today. How you doing?
What's up, boys? Just trying to put together this puzzle that is the NFL Draft.
Okay, so as of this morning, and there's a lot to get into. You had some great tweets earlier today I want to ask you about, but as of right now, if you could make one bet, and only one bet, as we're now, a day and a couple hours away yet from the NFL Draft starting, what would you bet?
Ooh, I guess it's a complex question because I think the bets I'm making right now, guys, are just kind of some long shots. Like I bet Bears to draft Ashton Genty at, plus 400. I bet Rams first pick to be tight end at 6-1. But the one, and I think we'll get into this here with the Walter Nolan tweet that I put out there that is available at BetMGM and every shop at around plus money. I think MGM is the best at plus 110 that I saw. I've seen a couple of folks that I respect their opinion, and I know they have some ties to the Niners organization, say that he could be Walter Nolan at 11. Diana Rossini said the Niners expect to stick and pick and look edge. So I would bet, and I bet it personally, 49ers to pick edge or D-line at even money plus 110. I think MGM is plus 110. I think stations here in Vegas, which I know a lot of our listeners obviously can't bet, but they're at even money. You can get it even money or better. So that would be a bet that I think I would look at right now at some, palatable juice. Other one that I'll note, and I was just about to bet it, guys, and the number went way up, which kind of made me a little grumpy. Behind where you guys sit, I think Will Johnson is falling. I think this is a situation where we saw Albert Breer say earlier this week that Will Johnson, the corner out of Michigan, could be a guy that falls a little bit. The number now is 18.5. It's juiced over -$2. Guys, think about this. Earlier this week for Will Johnson, Circa put up 13.5, -120 both ways. I played over, and now it's at 18.5. I don't know if I'd lay $2, but I do think Will Johnson is a guy that is potentially falling. So maybe you look at a matchup with him and Barron, the D-back out of Texas, as a possibility. But I think if you're talking about palatable juice right now, guys, I think the way I would look from a fair price would be Niners to go edge or D-line at around even money plus 110.
I will point this out. Earlier this morning, and I put that up on the picks page at vsin.com, I took first defensive back selected, not named Travis Hunter. I took Barron at plus 120 because of the slide that's happening with Johnson. I think Barron's now -175, but you never know. You might find a book out there that is still sleeping in that market somehow, and Barron at a good number. Although I will say that he was plus 270 a couple of days ago. So, but this is the NFL draft, and I'll gladly still take plus 120 on that, even though he was plus 270 a couple of days back.
Yeah, that's such the tricky thing about the draft where, we here at this network and so many of our listeners and folks who consume vsin.com, we want the best price on everything, but it's just impossible, especially with the NFL draft. So sometimes you got to eat some juice too. I think Barron at -$1.75, probably getting a little rich, maybe get a little creative there. I'll say this, I was looking, and let me just double check something. And look around, you might be able to find some of these markets, but, Will Johnson, I'm looking at some mocks right now. Schrager had him 28th, McShay 19th. Edwards from CBS had him 22nd. So he seems to be one that is dropping a decent bit here.
Let me throw a couple of other angles at you. And you brought up Walter Nolan because I did hear, I think it was Bucky Brooks and Lance Zierlein talking about it on a podcast that dropped last night. And Lance Zierlein said, if you just put on the tape from every defensive lineman available in this draft, Walter Nolan's the best player. He's the best player at that position. Off the field stuff is why he hasn't been necessarily in the top 10, but now he is climbing like you talked about. BetMGM has Nolan 15-1 to go top 10. That was higher earlier today. But you noted that 49ers there, and you like that angle to take like lineman or edge. But think about the teams that are drafting before number 11 and in the top 10, right? You're talking about the Jets, the possibility there of taking that position. Same thing with Carolina for sure. Same thing with the Saints. Maybe one of those teams says, you know what, we agree with what Lance Zierlein said. He is the best defensive lineman in this draft, so we got to take him like in the top 10.
Well, like I said, Mitch, I've been taking long shots. I took a bunch of long shots on Jalen Walker today. I took, 4th overall, 6th overall. I think Jalen Walker, everything you read about him has just been immaculate outside of just maybe a little bit undersized. But Walter Nolan, I'll read you the quote, and I put it in my mock that I'm going to send over to Adam Burke here in just a little bit. But this was the quote from, I believe it was Albert Breer. Oh, no, Peter Schrager. He said, quote, "I'd be shocked if Nolan fell out of the top 15 at this point. He might be the fastest riser in this draft." So to your point, Mitch, here we are in a draft that we've been told there are, 2.5 blue chip prospects in Hunter and Abdul Carter, maybe Ashton Genty if you want to throw him in there. So if you're getting a guy that someone like Bucky Brooks, who evaluates players as well as anybody out there, says he's the best player just pound for pound from a skill standpoint, and then you get that quote from Peter Schrager saying he's rising, you take it a 15-1 shot. And then once again, I reference him a lot. You say what you will about him, but Todd McShay had Walter Nolan going 8 in his mock today. So 15-1 long shot. I said this just a little while ago, Mitch, and I'm curious your guys' thoughts of where we are here in the draft process. I think today, unless you have some really concrete information that from something you trust or someone you trust and you beat the market on a big move, I think today is about taking some long shots because look, I don't know about you guys. I'm not convinced that after number 3, this thing's going to be as chalky as we assume, right? Like, I am not convinced right now that the Patriots are taking Will Campbell. I think they could trade back. I think a team could potentially trade up to get maybe an Ashton Genty. Maybe it would be Jalen Walker. We had Tony Pauline on the show earlier this week, guys, and he said that he anticipates the Patriots to throw a curveball. He said he wouldn't be surprised if Jalen Walker goes number 4. So I'm not convinced come tomorrow night, guys, that number 4 is a complete curveball, because it's a clear need for the Patriots at 4, that they need an offensive lineman. We know that, but you've got a new head coach. And are they just going to go a little bit further down the board to fill a need, or do they try to take a high upside selection? So once again, long-winded answer, Mitch, to your point, Walter Nolan 15-1, top 10, absolutely, in my opinion, worth a shot.
Since we've been talking, the exact order top 5 has moved to $1.40. If you want to take Tim's advice and go Walker and then Genty 4 or 5, that pays 15-1 at DraftKings. 2 minutes left. In light of the article that came out today with the anonymous sources ripping Sanders, where you at with the quarterback prop now? 2.5 over, and it's come down to under now plus 105 in some spots.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier, Paulie. So I did take a little plus 260 on the under earlier this week at plus 105. Probably not going to play it, but look, I have a pretty nice ticket on Shedeur to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers. We bet that, I think, a week ago on primetime at plus 650, but I don't know, man. The more and more I think about it, I think the quotes that you're hearing from a number of folks, I think it was Rogers from SNY. I apologize if it's someone else, but I think he had the quote that he sees it's hard to believe seeing 3 quarterbacks go in the first round. Todd McShay's talked about it the past couple of days, guys, where folks that he's talked to have said it's more likely 1 than 3 in the first round. And, you know, the way I look at it, and obviously last year we saw 6 quarterbacks go in the top 12, but the way I look at it, if you're betting over 2.5, you're betting on trades. And can trades happen? Of course, it's the NFL draft. We could see teams like Washington at 29 trade back, and a team like Cleveland go into 29. You know, I don't know about you guys, but I think the Giants going around and having those private workouts with Milroe, with Dart, with Sanders, with Shuck, to me, it screamed, let's just figure out if we don't have to move up. And we can just be comfortable here in the early part of the second round with any one of those quarterbacks. So, you know, at plus 105, Paulie, am I racing to take the under? No. But in my mock that I'm going to put out here in just a little bit, I'm only going to have 2 quarterbacks. And I did put Shedeur to Pittsburgh, but I don't feel great about it. Yeah. I think Shedeur could see a fall, and I think Cleveland is certainly a possibility for him early on in the second round. And, you know, I think there, maybe New York as well, but I think we see under 2.5 quarterbacks in the first round tomorrow night.
All right. Tim, you put a lot of time and research into this bad boy every single year. Can't wait to look at your mock, which is going to be up at vsin.com by top of the hour, probably?
Yeah, hopefully in a little bit. I got to put some finishing touches on the bottom part, but yeah, hopefully soon.
Okay. All right, buddy. Thank you. Best of luck tomorrow night.
See you guys.
There you go. And he's going to be on the coverage with Matt Brown and Matt Humans for 4 solid hours during the entire draft, and he joined us on the Progressive guest line. So that's 15-1 exact order, but then you got to get
Walker in there at 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Paul's going to recap last night's betting action with win some, lose some. Congratulations to those of you who grabbed him early in the season because he was in the 100-1 range.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Good to have you on board here on a Wednesday, one day away from the NFL Draft. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard. We are live in downtown Las Vegas from the beautiful Circa Resort and Casino. And every Wednesday at this time, the maestro himself joins us, Mike Palm. He is the VP of this great property along with the Golden Gate and the D. Good afternoon, maestro. How are you?
Hello, Mitch. Hello, Paul. Wonderful. Everything's great.
Hey, Mike.
Are you guys great in baseball too, or are you guys getting pounded with these, I can't even call them good teams at home, I'm just talking about these really bottom feeders playing on the road where they can't win games?
I think Chris Bennett called it our worst week of baseball we've ever had. We just got slaughtered, let's say, between Thursday and Sunday last week.
Really?
We didn't do well. All the parlays come in.
Same cast of characters, yeah.
How about the Twins are up 4-0 on the Braves in the last leg of a 5-teamer is the Braves run line. They beat them 6-4. I mean,
oh boy,
they're the gift that keeps on giving. When the Twins went to Atlanta, what was that, Friday night? 4-0 Twins. Braves cover run line parlay.
There you go.
The run lines. I mean, the run lines are coming too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
good point. But also, yeah, this is the best winning percentage for home teams since the turn of the century. And you can go, like Mitch said, with how bad these teams are on the road. San Diego 12-1 at home, Dodgers 10-2, Mets 12-1 at home, and they just walked it off earlier today. It's wild.
How many games realistically? And there was a great prop up there before the season started, right? It was the Dodgers win total against the Rockies and the White Sox combined.
Yeah.
But what are we talking about here? These two teams are so bad again. I don't know if they can be White Sox bad from last year, but combined, they might just go. They might touch 100. And that might be about it.
That's true. And then are the Dodgers going to win 100? I'm not sure.
Did they win their division?
Yeah, I think they still win their division, but that's a really deep division. San Francisco's been scrappy. They should only start Logan Webb at home. Let's just be honest here.
And they maneuvered around. Yeah.
Even in L.A., he can't pitch in Southern California. Yeah. Just start him at home. He's unbeatable at home. He cannot win on the road. They've been scrappy. Obviously, the Padres have put it together with this lineup, and they're competitive in every game at least. And the Diamondbacks, I still think, are the second best team in the division. So we'll see. I mean, the Dodgers bullpen hasn't been terrific. And for all this depth of starters I talked about, they got 8-9 starters. You can't even find a spot for all the legitimate starters. They're still sending Logan Knack out there, and they're still, right? So we'll see. It should be an interesting race.
Interesting comment, Mitch. The Padres are plus 750 to win the division.
Yeah.
On a bad price.
What are the D-backs?
11-1.
I still like the D-backs.
Really?
I do. I think Fafad is good. Although, if you look at every metric, I thought Marquis, who was great. We love our Marquis, right? Red Rover. They've when Burns started on Friday, was it Friday afternoon in Chicago? I mean, every inning, the stats they put up on Burns. He's fallen off the table in the last two to what he was 3 years ago or 4 years ago with the Brewers. I mean, every single metric is way down. It's worse. So, but I like this Diamondbacks team. I think they will be second in the division or better.
I couldn't believe it when some projections had Corbin Burns as like the fourth, maybe even the fifth starter on the Diamondbacks this year. I'm like, what? That can't be right. But
could be right.
Yeah, could be right.
The kid from Reno, Fafad, is very good, or Fad, however you say. I hear everybody pronounce it differently. Yeah.
Okay, so I texted you today. I was blown away by this because you love baseball, you love hockey. I said, Mike, what are you hot and heavy on? You responded with two matchups in the NBA.
Well, I bet both. I bet one of the series. The other one I didn't bet, but I'm thinking about betting. The one I didn't bet is the Pistons and the Knicks. Now, just to my overly educated NBA mind, I thought this was a heavy series price at $360. But now I've watched two games where the Pistons have been the better team for like 87 or 88 minutes of this series. And they're still 210, the Knicks? What am I to believe, my lying eyes or the sharp bookmakers that we have working here? What's your thought?
The Knicks are in trouble, big time. And I thought $4 was too high as well. Beasley and Hardaway went 1 of 14 from three, and they were 6 of 27 as a team, and they still won the game. And it's a lot of Brunson and not getting everyone else involved, and the Knicks score 94 points at home. It's definitely panic time.
I could not understand the price, Mike, when it opened up. I thought the Knicks is a $4 favorite. And again, as Paulie called it the other day, the kiss of death. I mean, clearly, the pundits are going to pick the Knicks to win the series going away, and that's exactly what they did. But really, you never even heard a case for the Pistons to make it interesting, which never made any sense to me
Meanwhile,
whatsoever.
this was the only team that played hard every game during the regular season, this Pistons team.
Oh, and if you watch it again the other night, I thought the tenacity and the hustle, like they were just crushing the Knicks where it met, like the intangibles.
Are the Knicks going to be able to have Campaign come back and rein in three-pointers in the third? I mean, that's not happening again.
No.
I think the Pistons are live here.
You got 10 points out of Cat, 10 out of OG.
I think they're very live.
Can't move his feet on defense. They got a big problem there.
Yeah. That's going to be fun tomorrow. And I think they're in trouble. What's the other one?
The other one is the T-Wolves. I really thought that this series was close to a pick. I'm going in.
Damn right. Yeah.
Right? I mean, these two teams are very close to even. Look at the way Minnesota finished the year. And then they come out and played very well in game one. I want to read you this quote, though, because I think Chris Finch said something that was very astute that leads me to still love Minnesota in this series. Mm-hmm. This is what he said after Game 1, heading into Game 2, the day off. When an underdog wins Game 1 on the road, it takes a lot out of a team mentally, and they usually lose Game 2 because they can't match the intensity and desperation of the home favorite. He said, if we don't match their intensity, especially from the veterans like LeBron and Luka, we will get run out of the building. If we do match their intensity, I like my team and our chances not only in Game 2, but in the rest of the series. We are a mature team that is fully aware of what Game 2 means. The fact that they were down 22 in the second quarter and could have got blown out by 40 in that game and came back to make this a game in the second, I still think they're the better team, and I think they win the series. Well, so, and I like my plus 185.
That's the number you got, huh?
Yeah, yes.
Good price.
Okay. That fluctuated up and down before the series started.
They've scored 94 and 95 points. Yeah. This whole isolation and just I'll tell you another thing. I love the guy, but LeBron looks old.
A little bit.
He does.
But
he made some big plays last night.
He made a lot of good hustle, smart plays last night, finding guys, keeping possessions alive.
But what good is he? He's just going to stand in the corner, though. And I'm going to watch Reeves or Luka go one-on-one.
Yeah. So if you said the Pistons have been the better team in that series for like 88 minutes, right? You wipe away the first quarter. You can't do this, but if you wipe away the first quarter last night of Lakers T-Wolves.
Yeah, they played even the rest of the way.
Exactly right. Mm-hmm. So the T-Wolves have been the better team here for name the minutes. It's been a lot.
It was interesting because I listened to Redick's interview before the fourth quarter of Game 1, and he said, they're not doing anything to us schematically. It's not X's and O's. We just haven't matched their intensity. You know, there is a history between Finch and Redick. Finch was an assistant on the team when Redick played with the Pelicans. So I think these two know each other a little more than people give it on to. But I still think I think both these teams are worth an in-series bet right now.
Well, because look at this now. The Wolves were as high as minus 150 to still win the series before last night. Mm-hmm. They lost the game. They're still favored right now.
Yeah, you could have come back with the Lakers for the series at plus 115 or 120 last night. Right? And then locked up that middle. But I really do like the Wolves to win it here in this one.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. How about in the NHL?
Oh, yeah. I have to be concerned if you have Tampa Bay futures.
What happened?
Vasilevsky was horrible.
He was.
He should have got... Cooper should have pulled him when it was 4-1.
Yeah, the fifth goal was... He's just standing there.
He
just
stood there and then he went like this.
Yeah, how about that? Well, that's what he did.
He did. He didn't believe it. He let him shoot into the empty net.
He did.
But I thought the first goal where he tapped it in that was a bad goal too. He didn't square his shoulders around to that. And here's the thing. You think of this series. Now, one of these two has gone to the finals the last 5 years.
Correct.
Florida's a grinding, forechecking team, right? Florida looked faster out there on the ice than Tampa last night. Obviously energized by Chuck coming back, but this could be over quick.
How would you power rate the top teams in the Eastern Conference right now? Would you go Florida number 1, followed by
Toronto?
Toronto ahead of Carolina?
Wow.
I've watched this story with Carolina. Freddie Anderson, I don't know. We're making Freddie Anderson into it here. They made a comment on the telecast. It's only been injuries that have been a problem. When Freddie's healthy, he's been a top goaltender. When? What have I missed in the last 12 years? He didn't elevate Anaheim. He didn't elevate Toronto. I don't get this. And they're a home team too. They're not good on the road.
That's fair.
Carolina.
No, so you're buying Stolars.
I'm buying Stolars. I'm buying Berube especially. Uh-huh. They never win game ones. They never get off to good starts. My numbers had this 240. They went off at minus 175 for this series. I think this could be Toronto's year. Now, they'll have to get by Florida in the next round, most likely. I'm not happy that the Kings blew a 4-goal lead, even though they lost game one at home.
What do you do with that now?
It's still in your head. You can never be confident no matter how big of a lead you have.
I love the Kings, and in that 10 minutes, it was kooky. Yep. This is awesome. We talked about it yesterday. I retweeted it as well. The all-in package, the ultimate giveaway package at Circa, $400. Listen to this. 2-night stay at Circa, $100 dining credit, $100 beverage credit, and your own day bed at Stadium Swim, where the party never stops. All for just $400, valid between May 26th and September 4th. Lock in your all-in summer package now. CircaLasVegas.com, the all-in package. 2-night stay, $100 dining and beverage, and the day bed. CircaLasVegas.com.
Can't emphasize how incredible of a deal that is overall when you factor all that in. The dining credit, the beverage credit, and the day bed. You get 2 nights, and you're still only paying $400 for the whole thing. Derek said the website almost broke yesterday.
Yeah.
It was so popular.
Yeah, I think we get close to capacity in a few days because of the day bed. The day bed restrains it.
This guy needed to stop talking about a month ago. You cannot be serious. Up next.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
More NFL draft here. VSiN host Matt Youmans loves this event. Who doesn't? It's great. Love to bet on it as well. He's going to be on the hardcore coverage tomorrow night for 4 full hours following us. And he joins us here on the Progressive Guest Line. Matt, thank you. We appreciate it. Let's start here. We were just talking about some of the stuff we're hearing on Jackson Dart, Shedeur Sanders. How are you approaching that with bets on both of these guys?
Well, I got a little bit of buyer's remorse on some Jackson Dart bets, but not too much. I mean, because really, who knows what's going to happen with these guys? I think it's a lot of guessing. You got a lot of reporters throwing stuff against the wall, seeing what will stick, and trying to get clicks. And who knows what you really believe? I watched a long interview with Adam Schefter on the Rich Eisen show, and Schefter's even admitted that he's guessing about a lot of this stuff. So, and the teams are not going to be honest about the players they like. So I'll tell you, I bet Jackson Dart to be the second quarterback off the board at 2-to-1 odds, plus 200. And I bet Dart under 24.5, which I got a bad number. I could have had 25.5, but I felt pretty confident he was going to be a top 20 pick or so. Now, I don't believe Jackson Dart's going to go number 9 to the Saints. I did mock draft it that way because I don't like to predict trades in a mock draft. That's the easiest way to screw up a mock draft, is put a bunch of trades in there that are not going to happen. And so I think he's going to fall somewhere in there. Look, there are 2 teams we know for sure really like Jackson Dart, the Saints and the Giants. Brian Daboll likes him and Kellen Moore likes him. So where those guys maneuver to try to get to a spot where they can draft Jackson Dart, who knows? I don't know if it's going to be middle of the first round, late first round, what it's going to be. But the Giants and the Saints both like him. In fact, I made a little bet last night on Dart to the Saints at plus 240. You know who's done a really good job with draft props, and that's FanDuel. I know we were at DraftKings Network for a few years, but I think FanDuel has probably done the best job on draft props. DraftKings is right there. The Vegas market's been pretty disappointing this year. Ironically, if you're out of state, it's much easier to get down these bets on NFL draft props. But as far as Shedeur Sanders goes, I bet him about 10 days ago to go to the Steelers at plus 550, and that's where I had him in the mock draft at that 21st pick. And I still think that's his most likely landing spot. It's been pretty obvious for a while that Shedeur Sanders is sliding out of the top 10. And I think he's going to be there for the Steelers at that 21st pick. They might like Jackson Dart better. Mm-hmm. They might like Jalen Milroe. I'm not quite sure, but I'm going to predict that Sanders to the Steelers at 20. And I don't know if Jackson Dart's going to go in the first round. He might be an early second rounder. It's hard to really say. That's why I have not bet that quarterback prop. I know JVT's hot and heavy about playing under 2.5, but man, it's hard to say if a team's going to trade into the back end of the first round to get a quarterback. I bet last night Jalen Milroe to go to the Browns at plus 230. FanDuel had that up. Andrew Berry, the GM of the Browns, talked at length about how much he likes Milroe, and I don't think it was a smokescreen. He genuinely likes him. And if you draw the connection, Tommy Rees, the offensive coordinator for the Browns, was the offensive coordinator for Alabama when Jalen Milroe was there. And I think that pick actually makes a lot of sense for the Browns. So I would, if I had to guess right now, I'm going to say the Saints find a way to get Dart, Sanders to the Steelers, and Jalen Milroe is going to go to the Browns. I'm not sure where that leaves the Giants. Maybe they're going to try to trade in front of somebody if they like Sanders or Dart. I mean, it's a guessing game right now. Like I said, I've got several bets on this stuff. I've only got one bet at this point that I really regret, and none of those are on the quarterbacks.
Which one is it?
Ashton Jeanty to go to the Raiders. I bet Jeanty to go to the Raiders when I got some information from guys who cover the team. That looked like that was the direction they were going to go. And the more you look at it, that was a smoke screen. Raiders were just putting out that they like Jeanty, and they were going to go offensive line or defensive line, I think, the whole way. So if there was one bet I could get out of, it's Jeanty. I actually just bet the Bears to draft a running back with their first pick at plus 140 in case the Bears do trade up to that number 5 spot with Jacksonville to take Jeanty, because there's been a lot of rumors that could happen. So I went that route. If I had to say what's most likely for the Raiders, now I think it's Mason Graham, defensive lineman from Michigan, or it's going to be an offensive lineman. It could be probably Armand Mimbu from Missouri, or maybe, who knows, maybe even Kelvin Banks, the offensive tackle from Texas, if that's the guy they like. I mean, his draft position is right around 12.5. That would be kind of a surprise pick in the first round. But the information I'm hearing most recently today is that the Raiders are going to go either defensive line with Mason Graham or offensive line.
And that's a nice price on Graham, too, which was 8-1 at DraftKings and plus 650 here locally at Will Hill and some other spots. One more. How about with the Bears? Could they go tight end, you think? And maybe could the Jets get aggressive and go Warren at 7?
Well, I think you got a good handle on how that's probably going to work out. So if the Bears trade up to 5 to get Jeanty, then I think there's a decent chance you're going to see the Jets go Tyler Warren, tight end, at number 7. If Warren is still there and Jeanty's off the board, sounds like the Bears are going to go with Tyler Warren, maybe even Colston Loveland, tight end from Michigan, at number 10. And now it's starting to look like more of a coin flip, whether it's going to be Warren or Loveland as the first tight end off the board.
I have seen.
It looks like.
I'm sorry. I have seen both. I've seen both go top 10 now in a mock.
Yeah. I know. And the Jets and the Bears are the two likely spots for a tight end if that happens. And Ben Johnson's he wants his own guys. He's going to create. He's a madman, mad scientist. He's going to create his own offense. He wants his own pieces, and I think he really likes Ashton Jeanty. I'm sure he likes Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland. So I would fully expect the Bears to come away with at least one of those guys.
All right, very good. How about some wide receivers here? I got on Matthew Golden, I think it was last week. I was listening to your show, and Tony Pauline came on. He was making a great case. I grabbed him 2-1 to be the first wide receiver. That came down. It has since gone back up. So I don't know what's going to happen there, but how did you want to approach some of the wide receivers here in the draft?
Well, you and me both a little bit, watching the seesaw with the wide receivers, because last week I bet Golden plus 200 to be the first wide receiver off the board. And a lot of that's based on the combine testing too. Golden ran a 4.2, was a 4.28 at the 4.2840. And Ted McMillan from Arizona ran a 4.55. He ran mid 4.5s. So I thought for sure, okay, first wide receiver off the board, that's the Cowboys, right? They would like to make a flashy first-round pick. They want to put a speed receiver opposite CeeDee Lamb. How about Matthew Golden to the Cowboys at number 12? That seems to me like the first wide receiver off the board. That was a really good bet at the time. If you think it's a coin flip, who's going to be the first wide receiver off? Take the 2-1 on the faster guy. And that looked like a really good bet on Matthew Golden. Now we're hearing rumors that the Jaguars like Teteroy McMillan, that maybe McMillan goes ahead of Golden. Who knows? I'm not really sure, but I'll tell you 2 other bets with concerning wide receivers I've made in the last 48 hours. I think the Packers are going to take a wide receiver for the first time since 2002 when they took Javon Walker. They've got Christian Watson, who's got the ACL injury. He's going to be out for about half the season, so they have a need. And I know they like Mika Ibuka from Ohio State. I also am sure that if McMillan happened to drop or Golden happened to drop to 23, the Packers would like to take one of those guys. Packers are going to have an option at number 23, probably to take Ibuka. I bet him to be a first-round pick. I also bet the Packers to draft a receiver at 7-1. Now, a lot of years that would be a dumb bet because the Packers never draft a wide receiver in the first round. But this year, I think there's a good chance they will. With the draft being in Green Bay, play to the crowd, you got a need. You got 2 players you really like. They're at number 23. I think plus 700 on the Packers to get a wide receiver is a decent bet.
All right. Excellent. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Matt Youmans, he's going to be on the draft coverage here on VSiN tomorrow night. You know what? We have a similar bet here as well because Circa posted a position on Cam Scatterbo, the running back from Arizona State. It opened up 138.5, bet down to 120.5. I grabbed it there, as did you. Right, he's going to go, I think, before 121.
I read like 5 stories about Scatterbo in the draft. And first of all, if you watch him in the college football playoff and somebody said, where do you think that guy's going to be drafted? You would have said, wow, I don't know, second round?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's why this running back class is so deep. That's why it's hard to make a strong case that Ashton Genty's worth a top 10 pick, because you could get a guy like Cam Scatterbo in the 3rd round, and there's not much of a difference between the two. I love Scatterbo, and I could not believe Circa opened that 138.5. By the time I got to it, it was 120.5. The juice was high, and then I think it went from 160 down to 115. I bet it again. I can't imagine Scatterbo getting past the 3rd round. So when you're talking about 120.5, you need him to be picked somewhere before the middle of the 4th round or early 4th round. And I thought that was a great bet, really. And all the draft stories I've read basically project him as a 2nd, 3rd round pick. I mean, Mitch, you would be stunned if that guy went in the 5th round, wouldn't you?
Oh, I would, absolutely. Mm-hmm. That was a great point. If you watch him in the playoffs last year, you're like, no question he's going to be a high pick. Matt, we're up against it. Good luck, and have a great broadcast tomorrow night.
Okay, you bet. Thanks.
Thank you. Go. Our best bets in Pocket Plays next here on VSiN.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.